please give me a clue so that I'll be starting it.
All right, Harpreet. So in three, two, one.
Hello and welcome to the Economic Times BFSI Connected Customer Experience Roundtable presented by ServiceNow. I am your host Harpreet Singh from ETH, welcoming you all for today's discussion on connected customer experience in BFSI sector. Undoubtedly, the future of BFSI is connected, but over the past couple of years, we have witnessed that BFSI sector has changed its traditional way of functioning. According to PwC report, 80% of traditional banks and financial firms will disappear soon that haven't accepted the modern way of functioning through technology. Meeting the customer's expectation could be a bit challenging as every single customer expects the personalized experiences as part of their customer journey. Is digital transformation or digitally equipped with artificial intelligence, machine learning, cloud network, or blockchain enough to meet ever changing customer expectations? What could be the right blueprint which banks and financial institutions can have? This exclusive roundtable discussion with the theme of BFSI Connected Customer Experience presented by ServiceNow will witness discussions around how banks and financial institutions can win the competitive race to stay ahead in delivering the cutting edge connected customer experience. Ladies and gentlemen, join me in welcoming the speakers for today's sessions. And today we have Mr. Arpan Arghya Saha, who is the Chief Digital Officer, Nippon Life India Asset Management. Then we have Mr. Lalit Trivedi, Head IT and CISO ITI Mutual Fund Trustee. Then we have Ms. Zeenat Mongol, Head Customer Experience, ICICI Lombard General Insurance. Then we have Mr. Milind Varelkar, Deputy Chief General Manager, IT, Saraswat Bank. Then we have Mr. Anubhav Goyal, Head Digital Transformation, HDFC Ergo General Insurance. Then we have Mr. Akash Desai, Director Solution Consulting Service Now. And this session will be moderated by Mr. Saurabh Chandra, who is the Managing Director and Senior Partner from BCG India. Without further ado, I would like to request Mr. Saurabh to take it from here. Over to you, Saurabh.
Thank you so much, Harpreet. First of all, to complete India, thank you so much for taking this time out to participate in this conversation. I have a very esteemed panel today with us. Everybody has contributed immensely to the domain and therefore to the business. This topic is very relevant, CX, and we will be touching upon the whole customer experience as well as we will be touching upon few other nuances of customer experience besides business, technology, as well as security. So I can assure you that this will be a pretty educative and reflective session together. And without ado, let me just put few questions out to my friends. I have I have promised them that to keep our audience excited, I'm not going to keep questions simple. So you can certainly enjoy the session for whatever time it is there. And with that, let me start it off. And let me start it off with Lalit, my dear friend, very seasoned practitioner. If I may ask you, Lalit, that
Hmm.
what's hi, Lalit. Um,
Yeah.
what is that three pivotal areas of customer experience within your
Mhm.
company that you're chasing? Then what those three areas would be today?
Okay. Thank you so much, Gaurav, for giving me first opportunity to discuss. Is the most demanding and critical area in all customer-centric business nowadays, where business has to focus on customer experience, customer they need to get customer experience and how they can implement in the business. Now, these core three area I want to focus, and first area is the technology. Where using technology now in the customer experience, digital technology one of the most demanding area where every organization in BFSI sector is focusing. How you can maximize your reach to the end user or end person in the society using the technology where you can help you to grow the business, or you can provide him end-to-end information on fingertips to the business rather than approaching him a traditional sales approach. And the second thing I can say is definitely analytics. Analytics is a combination of you have artificial intelligence, machine learning, all predictive advanced modeling where you can understand the customer's perspective, what you want to know, what which area I want to explore. So using his past data and your industry experience, you can explore or implement this area in your business. And third is definitely, I can say some virtual kind of thing. Like, we are in mutual fund industries and every user or every investor or customers want to know what is mutual fund, how he can invest, where he can invest, which scheme he can invest, where he can minimize the loss and gain the profit in a volatile market scenario also. So my preference is to provide such kind of virtual tool using that investor can understand basic thing and he can decide his own investment strategy rather than reaching to any sales trading salesperson or any distributor. In same area, I can help to existing customer also where I can using virtual tools, he can decide or restructure his own portfolio in the industry to maximize the profit. So these are the three core area which I'm more interested and I'm also working in my organization. For ITI Mutual Fund is one of the starter 3 years young organization on we are in position to implement all this technology from scratch. So these are my view on customer centric. The core three areas where all BFSI or any customer centric organization can implement.
Excellent. So this is superb. So Lalit talks about data, talks about the horizontal capabilities. Let me ask, uh, dear friend Arpan, he also hails from the similar industry. Do you see anything different than that three that Lalit talked about, Arpan?
Thanks, Saurav. I think first I want to, if I can, correct the fact that I think from a digital side, it doesn't matter for the customer which industry you're from. Okay. So today, if you say who's the biggest competitor that one needs to chase, would it be a mutual fund cousin or an insurance, third cousin? I would say it could be any of the e-commerce companies which is operating in India and abroad. Uh, so I have always believed that digital by itself is a perpetual beta. And digital experience is a bigger beta which consumers go on adopting and expecting uh, from time to time, right? So things are moving very fast, and there is no set rule now saying that, hey, digital experience is defined as this. With that, I think I heard what Lalit said, and he's touched upon most points. But on the experience piece, let me also bring in an external view. There is something which is now appearing as the platform of choices, right? Now, what's a platform of choice? Lalit might be very comfortable on a mobile app doing a service request or doing a transaction. Anubhav might be very comfortable with his iPad and, and say, and probably Milind would be saying, hey, why can't I finish this on my WhatsApp tool, right? So you're suddenly, the digital is very outward. It's the digital assets has started embedding external architectures to ensure that the consumer gets a very personalized place and the choice to move on. The second thing which we believe is very strong on in a mutual fund, we believe, hey, if all of us have seen the movie The Invisible Man, these are the days of the invisible man, right? So the consumer is sitting on the other side of a machine, and you are not meeting him face to face. So data, and especially smart data, okay, starts bringing in the additional competitive edge that your brand can get, right? You don't have those fancy branches anymore, which are important to grow a customer. but it's more of the consumer personalized database. How curated offerings you can give him on the go is what makes it very important. And therefore, machine learning, which will lead to artificial intelligence, and which let me call it actual intelligence, starts coming into play, right? So these are the probably three most important vectors that all of us need to look at. Digital is like it's like an united nation, right? So we are not in the BFSI industry right now. As we speak today, there are many e-commerce players, retail players, trying to be a fintech firm, right? So that's how it is moving, sort of.
Certainly, it's not a competition from the fellow bankers. It is coming from across the industry. So Arpan puts it pretty well. Let me put the same question but to a different flavor. And as bank, Milind, what is that one CX change that you see, wherein 5 years before it was not there, but now today in the bank, that one thing on customer experience is being talked about, regimented way of chasing it and making it happen? What is that change that you are seeing today?
Yeah. Hi, Saurabh, and good afternoon, fellow panelists. Thanks for this opportunity. So, one change in last 5 years, 5 years is a big horizon. I would say in last 2 years itself, customer experience has changed tremendously. In particularly in our sector, bank sector that we are observing, all the digital transactions have burst. And particularly if you take UPI has become a game changer. And particularly from the time of pandemic, the kind of transaction surge that we have seen in our bank. We have experienced that during the first wave, after the things started opening up. Since last year, we have seen almost 500% jump in the UPI transactions. So one thing which customer expects from a bank is online when he's doing the digital transactions, the ease of use, availability, and security. The customer doesn't bother what channel you are offering. Any channel that you offer, whether your bank's app or they are using any third party wallets or they are using WhatsApp, the kind of experience they want to do and the transactions when they are doing. We have seen even a transaction happening around post midnight also. So availability is prime, and also the security, because the kind of attacks, cyber attacks, phishing attacks that the customers are facing. So at that time, for us, it is also important that we have a secure channel providing to the customer, and also make them aware of their transaction security, how they should take care. And for that purpose, yes, definitely at the back end, we need to ensure that resilience in the technology is built in, the elasticity is built in, like for the surge of transactions during the particularly we have seen now in IPL season, and also during festival season, the transaction jumps. So we need to ensure that the infra is able to capture all these transactions and able to take the pressure.
Certainly. So very clear, Milind sees it from the lenses of technology, wherein availability, reliability, scale, volume, all these are very important ingredients for customer success. Uh, Changing a bit of domain, though it is BFSI, but as the world knows that it's like you can't be a doctor of all. So we have heard mutual fund, we have heard bit of banking. Let's come to one of the most difficult industries to operate in, and few of the leaders who have made their mark. And in that, let me first come to Anubhav, a dear friend, fellow entrepreneur, disrupted the market multiple times with his companies and now doing some magic with HDFC Ergo. So, Anubhav, if I may ask you, what is that one change in insurance, keeping CX in mind, that you see is happening or about to happen? What will be that one change that you see from your lenses?
And thanks, Saurabh, and hi, hello, fellow panelists as well. I think one major CX change which I'm seeing, I think the instant gratification during the claim process. I think people have seen instant gratification when it comes to Amazon product return, whether it comes to no questions asked, 1 month testing period of so many apps, right? Now people expect a similar thing with insurance as well. That once they come for a claim, can they have an instant gratification, right? Like that is the biggest hurdle today, right? Like whenever somebody comes and say, okay, fine, I'm an insurance, like people at least stop talking to you, right? They feel that you're an insurance agent just to sell a policy and go away. Because they always have this fear that when the time comes to claim, which is like a real moment of truth, the insurance company might or might not honor that. So in fact, we at HDFC Ergo have like almost pivoted this. Like all of us in the board room as well now, we don't say that we are in the business of insurance. We always say we are in the business of paying claims, right? And if we do that well, I think everything else settles down. And that we have seen in so many places, right? Like we had a large merger of a large health insurance company 2 3 years ago, right? And when they got merged and we became like the second largest health insurance company in the country, I think the entire claim process, and especially during the COVID times as well, right? We were actually one of the essential service providers that time because we had to ensure that the entire country supported when they were going through the tough phase of claiming their expenses through health insurance. I think that is one big eureka moment, so to say, because I think selling insurance is easy, right? You give insurance to everyone buys, right? But I think making money out of insurance is a difficult task. I think that's a very paradoxical nature of insurance as a business, right? You want to give claim fast, but you don't want to give claim to a fraudster. Like you want to give insurance very quickly, but you don't want to give an insurance who is an unhealthy customer, right? So it's a very paradoxical nature of a business. You want to do it fast, but you want to do it right. So if you just want to do one part of it, it is much easier. But if you want to do both, and so I think claim is the major thing which we are looking at as insurance. Yeah.
Yeah, very well said. So many dimensions. And then picking up one which touches customers the most is the key. With that, if I come to somebody who deals with customer experience day in, day out, her job is to ensure that customers are always happy. Her KPI is around NPAs. So let me ask Zeenat, how do you see from your lenses that one thing when you look across all the data points that stands out saying that we need to or the country needs to fix X which can enhance the CX for consumer in insurance world? Zenat, you on mute, I guess.
Great. Thanks a lot, Saurabh. And hello, my fellow panelists. Pleasure to be on this session today. So, Saurabh, while your question is very targeted and you want that one thing, I'm very sorry, but there's not one thing that can make customers happy. And rather, I would say that I'm not looking at making customers happy. The key aspect that we focus on is being fair in everything that you deal with him. So the funda that I have, or my funda, is that happiness quotient of any human being cannot be determined. So even if we are a family of 3 or 4, I sitting here today can't tell you whether the 3 at home are happy with me, but I ensure that I am fair with all 3 of them. So rather than focusing on the happiness quotient, what we want to do is Nibhai Vade, which is our DNA. We want to build that trust factor, be fair to people, and be fair in all our dealings across the life cycle whenever the customer engages with us. And we don't want to be just a sales company. So insurance, like I completely agree with Anubhav, that sales is very easy in insurance. And today, after COVID, health insurance people are running helter skelter and coming to you asking you, please, mujhe insure kar lo. So that's not when the moment of truth, which is claim. If you are not there with your customer during claim, before claim, after claim, if you are not engaged, if he's not engaged with you, then I don't think you've got there. So in CX, you will see very new KPIs and new matrices that we track or we look across. One is definitely the customer engagement quotient, and that we look at across all our strategies that we implement. So if you look at educational videos, if you look at marketing proactive wellness campaigns, etc., is your customer engaged with you is the key aspect that we focus on. The other aspect is of usability, which is related to to the ease of use and learnability. This I forgot uh, his name. I'm sorry. One of our fellow panelists made that point that ease of use and usability is important. So we focus on all those things. So customer effort score, customer engagement score are few things which matter today if you want to really look at experience. Your advocacy, NPS, and all, yes, are a part of your to find out what your customer is feeling about you. But I think there are new things which are coming in which you need to keep a track.
Certainly. And I think the biggest takeaway of that is what Zeenath said, though many interesting, important points, but it is not one thing. And that's the key. Changing gears, and I have to come to somebody who does it fantastically well, not for one industry, but for many. They have changed the landscape in the industry by their solution. The way they have risen in last few years, very few companies have seen such kind of a growth and acceptance across the world. And with us, since we have Akash representing ServiceNow, let me ask Akash, uh, you have seen it across industry that how a platform can come into play and change the game, not just from customer experience perspective, but also it touches revenue, it brings engagement, it brings a higher CLTV, and therefore the relevance of your platform. So if you have to see it from the lenses of whole BFSI industry, what is that one thing that stands out in ServiceNow, which you can boast of and say that I do it better than anyone else, keeping CX into mind?
Absolutely, Saurabh. So, first of all, a very good afternoon to all my fellow panelists, and it's my pleasure to be in the same sitting in the same panel as you. Amazing exposure, and I heard some interesting terms, very relevant: ease of use, security. That's what customers are looking for when they transact, right? Ease of use, security, instant gratification, and then we are also touching upon customer effort score, customer engagement score. And so all the organizations very clearly are focusing on how they can take the customer experience to the next level, make it easier, and not only customer experience, because unless you don't improve the employee experience who are going to serve your customers, the customer experience is always going to be a bit lacking. you know as we say, and this was something but very famously called out by Forrester, only a happy employee can guarantee a happy customer. So what needs to be done on this side of the table, that the customers are happy, they can experience ease of use, they can experience secured transactions, they can experience instant gratification. And then that is what has got to do a lot with the enabling systems that you have on this side of the table, uh, the technology enablers. Now if you see the industry over past 10-20 years, we all have evolved. A lot of investments have been made in CRM solutions, in core insurance, core banking. There are so many technology silos eventually that we have all built up. Nothing wrong in that, because probably that was the best technology available at that point in time, but still they are all silos. So today if you see in most of the banks or and any BFSI, NBFC, any organization for that matter, even telcos, I would say, any organizations, the front office, mid office, back office, they are all disjointed. The exchange, the handoffs are all manual. it's over email and phones. And that's where the tat suffers. That's where the consistency is getting compromised, and the customer experience at the end of the day is getting compromised. So ServiceNow, basically what we do, we coming from a strong service management background, we understand this. For guaranteeing a good service, you need to have connected systems, you need to have a connected enterprise. Otherwise, we'll keep on coming up with this kind of issues. So ServiceNow as a platform basically provides the organization a single system of engagement for your front office, your mid office, and your back office to connect onto. In backend, this single system of engagement will connect with your existing system of records, be it a CRM system or a core insurance or a core banking system, and will execute the workflows. So we as a platform provide technology workflows, we enable customer workflows, we enable employee workflows, all getting powered by a single common services data model. So this basically takes the operations at a completely different level, because now for the first time, when you have all these workflows executing on the same platform, the visibility is available to each and every person, the transparency is available to all the stakeholder in the organizations at once. Your risk posture is visible all at once. While you are executing those workflows, how you are complying on the risk, how are you taking care of your risk controls, are they other two, or are there slippages, that reflects on your dashboard in real time, because it's all been pulled up from the platform on which continuously all your customer workflows are getting executed. So ServiceNow basically brings this whole universe together, connects your front office, mid office, back office, and that's the theme of the, I would say, today's session as well, connected experience. So and then at the same time providing a omni-channel experience both for the employees as well as the customer. So customer, when he approaches a bank or an insurance organization with, let's say, a complaint or a request for an information, or provide some instruction, they would have a single interface. In backend, the employees have a single interface to collaborate. Of course, the updates in the system of records will keep on happening in the backend, but the employees have a single system to refer to. The handoffs are all through the systems. Auto escalations are automatically set so that the ball is not dropped, and the customer gets a very good experience. So that is something that we have been doing for many banks, many customers now. And one of the reasons for we getting such a great response from the industry is, for the first time, we have been able to bring all these three functions together: the front, mid, and the back office. So thank you.
Excellent. So on that note, Akash, and you touched upon a very important point, the connected experience, right? So um, since connected experience over a platform is via technology, and since technology has such important role to play, I'm gonna now bring a twist to the movie. As how any movie starts with relatively a happy note, but the suspense starts when there are two important players in the play. They have a conflicting opinion. And now I want the country to hear what's everyone's view on this. And it is build versus buy. So let me start with, somebody who is a veteran of building things. And Anubhav, you have built companies, you have built platforms, and now it is such a complex industry that you are building solution for. What do you think in connected experience, build versus buy? Which position will you take, or will you take hybrid, and why?
Yeah, no, thanks, Saurabh. And I know it becomes controversial in this world, which is more an enterprise-led word. Like, if you go to a startup world, obviously it's not a debate, right? Like, the technology is the core, and what is core is something which you don't outsource, right? I think that's where the entire discussion starts, and that's why I'm always a firm believer of building rather than buying. And why, right? Like, see, entire technology has evolved over a period of time, right? Like what ServiceNow just talked about is something which used to be done by an ERP earlier, right? Like if you were like 2 decades ago, Oracle and SAPs used to do that, right? But over a period of time, like the way you see the technology being evolved now, right? Like you have Google or Microsoft, whose vision is not to build technology, right? Their vision is to build technology so that we can build technology, right? So obviously, I will not build an Android, right? But if there is an app to be built on Android, I think there is enough and enough material to is available, for someone to really build on their own. I think even ServiceNow for that matter, right? Like it's a low code no code platform, right? Essentially, like they leave the choice to us, right? As a consumer, that what I want to do that, right? And so that's why I'm a firm believer of building stuff, because I think the country has been really paralyzed, honestly, all the enterprises, and we see large banks having lockdown, shutdown, and whatnot. Things keep happening, right? Like you saw recently, like when Air India took over happened, one of the interesting startups put up an ad on the front page, right, that we just spun the Air India app in a day, right? So I think that's how the democratization of the technology has happened, and I think it is high time when enterprises need to move in that direction and really evolve ourselves as individuals to ensure that we start using it, right? Otherwise, all those old .NET era and the Oracles and SAP are in any way passe, right? So none of the new age companies are working on that. So I think for me that's pretty obvious, and I know you and I keep having debates with so many other people also. But I think building is the only way to go. I would not have said the same thing like 8 years ago, right? But today, what all do we need, right? Like you need an infra. You don't have to buy a server, right? You go on a cloud and you spin something, right? You need a library. It is available open source. You need a connected ecosystem. You have a data lake, and everything gets built on that. You can have a single source of truth. You have workflows available. So what else is there? I think we just do complicate stuff at times, and get into the buy mode.
Exactly. So, Anubhav heart is purely towards build. And let me now move the baton to somebody who is looking this through and through. And I will go with the fund house now, and we'll start with Arpan. What do you think? Build or buy or hybrid?
Uh, so before I answer this question, and you know, and I really heard what Anubhav said, and it makes a lot of sense. However, it's again the kind of sport that you play, right? So people who have been core technology companies, right, whose very basis of business was technology, would always believe that build is the right thing to do, and it is the right thing to do because they have the expertise. But a huge part of India, right, is still we have organizations who are trying to transform themselves pre-COVID, post-COVID, and they are getting the building blocks in place. Uh, and talent, as all of us have been reading in the newspaper, uh, has been very migratory, especially with the demand for tech being very strong and very high. In such a situation, I personally feel that that a firm whose core business is probably not technology, but maybe other services, could look at a hybrid model, take an opportunity to carry on delivering the best of output to their customer. At the same point of time, build such a strong chassis that and also gather talent to carry on the building revolution. But however, not pause, not pause because of lack of resources or lack of understanding. Where I believe there are firms who are experts. And I'm not only talking about the top 5 firms in technology. I'm talking about the new startups which have come in, which would probably come and give you a turnkey solution and also partner with you, right? In building and helping to build your chassis. Times are changing. I think what is the most important word is operate. So whether build, buy, operate. If you have a hybrid model which is in place, please focus on that. The idea is to get it right, to get it fast to market, and to be able to replicate it whenever the need arises. That was my thought.
Excellent. This is becoming intense. I am liking it as well as my friends who would be listening it. Arpan started with build, and he has some very important point as how what business sees it to be, and therefore build, buy, and therefore learn from it as if there could be some hybrid approach as well. But moving on to Lalit and similar industry, maybe different problems, different segments. But Lalit, how do you see it to be? Build, buy,
I think, yeah, I agree with Arpan some extent because I am also grown up with a hardcore development background and where I work in SMB to large business house and where I have realized that 100% dependency on one side is not good for business. So build and buy, if you go with hybrid model, I think it will help you to maximize your business, minimize business dependency and increase the growth. So where your service provider will help you, where you have in-house resource to utilize to building the things and support the business. So I think I agree with Arpan to go with the hybrid model.
got it.
And which is I'm experiencing at current stage also because any technology, see when we buy any technology, I think maximum we see that not allow you to customize 100%. Now there are technology which is coming with the customer experience and implementing. They help you allow you to maximum extent of customization. Because earlier it was not there. So now things are changing as technology places also at a business level also. So I think hybrid model has long term to
Yeah,
go.
exactly. So I think there is a division in the room now, two hybrid coming, though I keep hybrid to be build as well. But then, the sentiments moving to build and hybrid. Let me take a pulse from the person who is in the center of the show every day, Zinat. How do you see it to be? What will make your life easier and better to give back to the customers? You unmute, Zinat.
Hybrid, definitely, Saurabh. And because you have to be flexible, you can't say that I will build and the time that you may take, while you may have the capability, but you have your own backlogs and you have your own priorities. And there will be things which you have to decide whether I buy and move ahead faster. It's a call, a quick decision making that you need to think through completely and then take that call. And flexibility is the key here. How flexible are you, and this is what benefit you are getting. So to give you an example, you build something, you build platforms and buy features is what at least I do. So I platform, if I build, I am in control, I am empowered, I decide then what all features I can have. So to give you a quick example, when we were wanting to upgrade our CRM, we already had an in-house CRM. When we wanted to upgrade that CRM, we looked at the leaders in this space, the Salesforces of the world and the Zendesk of the world, and yet we decided to build it. And the additional features or the rule engines and the workflow automations is something that we are buying externally, and to that extent, upgrading the platform that we have built for ourselves and are in control too. So hybrid for me.
Excellent, excellent. So seems that uh, the cohort is leaning towards what Anubhav started, and now the whole diaspora is building towards hybrid and with a touch of build. Uh, Let me ask this to our banking friend Milind. You have so many products, and it's always a conversation. Go to market has to be faster or the best product to have for longevity, and therefore build versus buy versus hybrid. How do you see it to be from your lenses, Milind?
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting conversation going on. And my view is that if you look at buy, there is no one size fit all kind of thing. And when the customer is expecting more and more and more personalized services, you need to build your products around those expectations. And for that purpose, you won't be able to have really pick and choose if you look at buying and quickly enabling them. Of course, the go-to-market pressure is always there from the business side, because for business everything is wanted as of yesterday. But
Yeah.
then again, they also want this experience to be more and more personalized for the customers. So my take on that is, for many of the products you need to build to the requirements and to the expectations of the customers.
Exactly. It it is customer working backwards world, and seems
Yeah.
that Milind generally takes the call on that ways. So very different perspective on build versus buy versus hybrid. But this brings me to Akash. And Akash, many few in the world may be knowing that ServiceNow boasts of open platform as well. What is the take that you have? I know that it's a software and a platform that you provide, but then you are being seen as a buy platform, though my view is that you are building it in house for the world. So how would you defend the build versus buy on the connotation of service now?
In fact, sort of, this is an amazing conversation, and actually, it takes me back to the genesis of ServiceNow. This very question, build versus buy. So Fred Liddy, who was our founder, when he started off, he comes from a very strong service management background, and he was very clear. I'm going to provide an application on the cloud, but I'm just not going to provide an application to my customers, because application has its sets boundaries. It will have ABC features, and that's all you can do. It has set features and boundaries. That's about it. But moment I provide a platform to my customer, I'm giving him or her the choice to build the application, to modify the application the way that suits best to their business. And that was the whole genesis, that why we chose to launch a platform rather than just another application on cloud. So from day one, we always have been calling ourselves the platform of platform organizations. And if you see, the low code no code motion is all towards that. uh, Also, it's very much part of our design and philosophy. So today, whatever revenue we have, almost 50% of that goes back into the R&D, in acquisitions, technology acquisitions, and so on. We just don't create a retrofit integrations with the new technologies that you acquire. Like, for example, sometime back we acquired RPA, IntelliBot. For RPA we acquired Element AI. We just didn't create an integration with the technology. We break it down, and that whole code is absorbed into the platform, and it's made native to the platform. So the new version of the platform that comes for our customers, it has those capabilities inbuilt. It's already inherent into the platform. So we have kept the story very strong around the platform. And that very platform comes with a lot of out of the box workflows created for you, for customer workflows, for employee workflows. At the same time, the platform by nature provides you that freedom to build any workflow, any application that you would want of your choice, leveraging the same capabilities of the platform. So basically, for me, now coming back to the question, build versus the buy, um, you will see no two core banking setups are same. Okay, probably, even though if they are from the same OEM, or the vendor, or two SAP instances, or two core telecom setups, they are all very, so everything for me, it's kind of built on something that is available out of the box. So of course, the out of the box capabilities help you set up a core. It helps you, it gives you a starting point, but subsequently you should be having that freedom of choice of tweaking it the way you want. Now, why I say you need a starting point, or a core, something that is out of the box, because a lot of best practices has gone into it. So there is a continuous improvement that we do, taking the feedback from the field. So we have a lot of customer service management customers globally, and we take feedback from them. What have been they doing, what modifications or customization configurations they have been doing. We try to incorporate it back into the solution. So the new releases, we come up with two new releases every year. So that's how fast the technology keeps changing on our platform, and that is seamless. It's a zero downtime upgrade. So customer with the new release keeps on getting those new capabilities and features. So once this market feedback keeps happening, you get a platform which is continuously evolving and providing you those new capabilities. Probably you may not have thought about that, but okay, now it's available, I can leverage this for my business. So that's a good cross pollination that happens because of this. Plus now the platform has the capability to build anything that you would want on top of it. Zenith brought up a very important point. Like we have built a platform and then we buy features and techs, and see, you have to buy something out of the box, because we also have to keep in mind the upgradability, the sustenance, the maintenance of the things. If we build something that is completely out of the scratch, over a period of time, that kind of becomes a bit of a difficult system to manage. And then it's basically backed by tribal knowledge, and then maybe lacking the new capabilities that come through the OEMs. Like for example, AI ML. Continuously there have been improvements in AI ML. Okay, so are you getting that leverage? OCR technology is going through great enhancements. Are you getting those benefits? So yes, you require a solid platform which has all those capabilities, which is continuously evolving. And on top of that, then you build your own very specific customizations, your own very specific applications that you want. That is what my submission would be, Saurabh. You're on mute, Saurabh.
Excellent. I feel that Akash has defended it pretty well. He is now enticing the world, saying that you may be in a domain, but my platform works across domain. Do you know what more things that you want? Because I know that. And second, he's also saying that I'm going to give you more flexibility to do your use cases as well. That is how my platform has been designed. So excellent. So with this, let me come to the third very important part of the section here. Customer experience, connected customer experience in the world of data. And this is such a new world that till the time internet technologies haven't emerged, nobody was paying too much of heed on data. Though it was, but not to the level that it can start or influence the end consumers. And today, with lots of solutioning on data, the influence to end consumer in terms of buying behavior, engaging behavior, conversion behavior, every such behaviors can be influenced, tweaked, changed. So therefore, when we talk about data, what you see it to be in terms of its relevance, keeping connected CX in mind. So is there a serious focus to triangulate data to technology platform to pretty much power the customer experience? So that's the question, and that is where your response has to be, that how do you see it to be from the lenses of from where you operate. And let me start with Milind this time. He sees it for multiple products, day in, day out, very factual. What is the relevance of data from his lenses in connected CX world?
Yeah, I've been people have been talking about data being the fuel, but if you see now, the data has become oxygen for any business, and the data to the core has to be, I mean, like our core banking system, we are into the core banking system for almost 2 decades. So we are sitting on a pile of data. And using that data, how can I provide a customer experience which is more personalized to the customer? I mean, to take an example, if any customer has taken any housing loan from me 10 years back, and he has been paying his EMI, so he's progressing well in his life. So how do I engage with him for more products? How do I offer him more and more good services? And also how his family engagements should be managed. For all this, you need to understand the data. And that data today is not only the transactional data that he is having, but also the data which he is interacting with the bank on the various social media channels, that you need to look at, that also need to be collaborated. With this, the better customer experience can be built, and products and services, more of a services can be built over the data which can be collaborated. We are in the process where we are looking to build data lake now, so that data from all channels can be pulled in, and then we can start engaging with customer in a more meaningful way. I mean, we are offering demat accounts, we are offering CASA accounts, we are offering loan accounts. So all that customer data which is there can be utilized in a better way to build a more personalized experience. That is what we are looking at.
Excellent. Exactly. I think you nailed it that earlier it was the oil, now is the oxygen. So it shows the importance of data now. With that, if I have to ask Zeenath, you deal with data a lot, whether it is stat, SLA, NPS, productivity, um, agent engagements, customer sentiment analysis, everything is powered by data at your side. What's the relevance of data working seamlessly with the platform to ensure connected CX from your viewpoint?
So, sort of data, like you said, we have lots and lots of data. How we use that data is the key. And basically, when I talk to my data analytics guy, I generally use the term. I tell him, data बोलना चाहिए. You are my this. So, ये data आपके साथ बात करना चाहिए. तब आप मुझे बता पाओगे कि how I can connect my CS. So there are GI space sort of is very complex. Motor, we can have one customer who has a health policy, a motor policy, and a home policy. These are the three very critical combinations. But home home वाले को पता नहीं है कि motor वाला customer के साथ कैसे engage कर रहा है. मोटर वाले को पता नहीं है कि हेल्थ में आप कैसे एंगेज कर रहे हो, उसकी फैमिली भी इंश्योर्ड है. So these are the few aspects that we are trying to resolve by looking at the data and bringing everything under one platform. That is basically our next critical project for this year, 23 or 22-23, which we are wanting to actually kill. So we know what's going on under each umbrella, and that will create a delight for the customer. So if I may give you a use case that a customer has gone to a hospital for a cashless claim, and I know that he also has his vehicle insured with me. And so I can tell him that, sir, you have come for your health claim. Your motor insurance is about to expire. Why don't you renew it? You have parked your vehicle outside or in the near the hospital or things like that. That kind of engagements will actually delight the customer, which we call nowadays hyper personalization, are the terms that we've been all listening to it. It's no longer limited to personalization, but it's hyper personalization, and customers get delighted by that. So that's my viewpoint around it, is that hyper personalization is what we are looking at, especially because we have many cross functional products in our bouquet.
Certainly. It is one of the most important aspects, and plus, does data make sense? With that, let me ask Anubhav. Anubhav, you have done some very core work on data. You pretty much have created platforms around data. How do you see the relevance of data with respect to insurance for an enhanced customer experience?
Yeah, no, thanks, Saurabh. And I love when Milinji talked about data lake, right? So we created India's first financial services data lake for HDFC Life, like 4.5 years ago, when this cloud was just a buzzword. Google had only one data center in the country and whatnot. And I think we have seen like tremendous result in that company, and post that many companies more in that direction. I think it's very important to look at. So like a lot of times, we as insurance company or as banks keep focusing हमारे पास 5 प्रोडक्ट है, how can I give it to consumer more, right? Like the whole idea is that how can we make it relevant for a consumer and then work backwards from there and be ready when they need us, right? And I think classic examples are things like BNPL now, right? You go to Amazon and you find a cohort and you know that this particular guy can be offered a loan instantly or not, right? A similar exercise for life insurance with one of the large consumer tech company as well, where we could say, okay, fine, this guy can be given 50 lakh sum assured, or this guy can be given 1 crore sum assured without any questions asked. So I think that's like one gamut of it, right? I think second very interesting thing which is happening is I think data is becoming larger and larger every day, right? Because everything which you do can actually be converted into a structured data now, right? So earlier it was not the case. Earlier we used to say data is just a relational data table, right? Somebody interacted with me, somebody gave me a lot of data fields, that's data for me. But now everything else is data, right? You talk to a call center, they convert into a voice to text, do a sentiment analysis. Next time you call, we will know that whether you were an angry customer or a happy customer, and I talk to you like that, right? Rather than starting from, hi sir, how can I help you? And the guy is like, dude, my wife is in the hospital, and what are you talking about? I have already called last time. Why you're asking me how are you doing now? Right? I'm calling to check whether my claim has been processed or not, right? Similarly, entire image, right? So once we do a car insurance, we click a picture of it, and then later on somebody comes in, and actually we have seen those cases. People insure it a two-wheeler, but when they come, it's a four-wheeler for the claim, and they actually pay premium for a two-wheeler, and actually it becomes truck by the time the claim comes, right? And if we don't do those data capturing over a period of time, and I think that's why the entire data platform becomes very key. And it's a journey, right? It never ends because you continue to go over and over a period of time, right? Like you see neobanks today, right? Why neobanks are successful today? Because they just look at one cohort. Imagine we are large companies, we are saying, भैया हम सबको सारे product देंगे. And then comes a neobank who says, I will get only 20 to 30 people age who is looking for a instant loan and is looking for some 5-10,000 rupees per month saving is my cohort. And the company is $800 million valuation today, right? So I think that's the whole power of data. I think we as enterprises, we keep looking at my one app should solve problem for all, and you come and experience me versus an Amazon, right? Like who has a different page for every consumer we have, right? And I think that's the whole importance of connected customer, which I see. So I think it starts from the mindset that what Zira just talked about, giving a hyper personalized experience to a consumer, and looking at data from wherever is possible and putting into a data lake or some sort of a platform which can be consumed by anyone and anywhere, right? So I think that's the whole crux which I see.
Exactly. Data becoming mapped to every customer is the last target state to win. With that, let me ask Arpan. Arpan, how do you see data in uh, managing assets, managing funds, wherein every point is money? How is the relevance of data in your world?
Is it strategic to you that after me you call Arpan all the time? Is it?
We are talking about data and Anubhav is doing the analytics.
Perfect. Okay, so I think before I get into the mutual fund space, let me quickly give you an example. You know, wars are not fought anymore. Very, very few, except for the one which is going on. I think the rest of the world is competing with each other on information. Any country which has been an epicenter of information uh, is the leader at this point of time. Saying that, if you or me would go to one of those, great names in our country which are into travel and leisure and hotels, and if you've been there more than twice, the third time you walk in, they'll call you by your name. They'll ask you, Mr. Goel, how you doing, right? And uh, and they meet so many people, throughout the month, and you'll be probably visiting them once or twice in a year. Um, data made way Data made way for loyalty programs in this country. Remember the Platinum Club, the the Prime, which is still available, the Diamond, Enclave. So data, the importance of data was first only towards the certain section of consumers. Now, with the internet coming in and people's propensity to spend and to explore increasing, information has become the magic portal. But what happens here is organizations, especially like ours, who are into fund management for decades and who are in the top 5 in the country, we deal with more than 1.2 crore customers who have invested their thought, belief, and money in us. Therefore, it is very important as being responsible firm and an organization to always ensure that we understand what they prefer, give them the right kind of advice through our digitized franchise or to our digital assets, and give the right product to the right people, in terms of cohorts, and start building propensity models, make lookalike clusters, put them in a data lake, and finally flow it down through regular data engineering programs. What was there 5 years back, or what was there 6 months back? After 6 months, people have changed, the lives have changed, and I think COVID has been the biggest example for that. So data for us is very important. Just think about it. If you've come if you have an investment with us, and you suddenly realize that, hey, you need money and you want to quickly uh, uh, take out the money, it is my responsibility to an organization to let you know that you are in a great cycle. The market is doing very well. If you take it out, you might lose out on the growth curve. After that, it's your choice to take it out. Or when the markets are down, uh, is there a way of saying that, hey, buy more now, through information to the right consumer, by understanding that this is the consumer who really wants to invest in lows? So that's the thing. Data for us is very, very important, and I think a constant data re-engineering is something that we go on doing at Nippon India Mutual Fund.
Excellent. So seems lots of important keywords Arpan has already shared to the country. Lookalikes, siblings, whole data lake around these concepts, philosophies, customer 360, CDNs. With that, let me ask Lalit. Lalit, how do you see it to be? Are you seeing Nippon Mutual Fund winning on data over you, or you are equally aggressively chasing data intelligence?
No,
Don't
I'm
answer
agree with
this,
the
Lalit.
panel.
It's a double-edged sword. Don't even answer this.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm agree with Arpan, but still we are growing, so we don't have that much data size to do exercise. But any exercise on data, you can work on. Even data size is small, you have to do same exercise to reach the customer and get the customer or distributor experience. So in our area, at a small level, small scale, but yes, we are doing so much exercise on data to understand the customer use, their past experience, what they were trying to buy, whether in my sales or marketing team, if they want to reach to end customers, if I have millions of customers, they don't know which customer to reach when. So it is data can give them insight that what type of or what segment of customer, when they can reach which type product or which line, when we are launching new product, which segment of customer or distributor we can target to reach them and get uh, them on board in case of any new investment or restructure of new existing investment or the new scheme. I think data is all about now industry is working on data, all business is depend on data to strategize any business or marketing or sales strategy or management strategy, I think. So data is all in one, I can say.
Exactly. So seems Lalit is fully bullish on data. The time he gets to harp on it, he's the one to grab it the first. With that, I come to Akash, and
Yes, I
Akash.
can share my experience here. I can share my experience here. When I was in ICICI Mutual Fund, and I developed such kind of MIS system. Then I never realized that it can be such big system. After that, when we implemented BI, 80% of my logic is adopted by business intelligence. So I think data is one of the key for business, I think.
Exactly, exactly. And
Yeah.
with all these insights, Akash, I think now triangulating it, and your platform, your technological excellence in the company, you have very keen eye on data when your platform gets developed. So uh, what will what would you like to share with fellow panelists as well as to the country who is listening to you, the importance or the focus on data for ServiceNow, primarily to keep this connected experience game well ahead in the curve with respect to your competitors? How do you see yourself to be in that game?
Yeah, Saurabh. So, Firstly, I think all the viewpoints are amazing, and can't emphasize the importance of data more. Data is everything today. Uh, we now call it oxygen, right? Not gold anymore. So everything is around data. Very importantly, the accessibility to data at the right time is very critical. While many organizations do have the data, which is kind of spread across multiple systems, and when actually the requirement is there, probably the people are not able to access that data in a timely way. And that's where the concept of data lakes and those things are coming into picture. So when we are talking about connected experience, when we are talking about having a single platform of engagement, driving all the workflows, the access to data at the right time, in the right context, becomes extremely critical. And the platform that basically helps you get this connected experience should, by design, support something like common services data model, where all the transaction records are held at one place, so the context is never lost. The customer 360 degree can reside in CRM. The latest rate plans and all, or the new products can reside on some other system. The customer's bank balance and that data can reside on some other system. But for what he has been interacting with you, the transaction information, at least that should be captured on that single system of engagement. So whenever any agent from the bank or the insurance company is talking to the customer, he understands the context, and the data is then timely pulled from the relevant system in the backend, or probably a data lake. So the single system of engagement, uh, uh, having the right data model, which basically sets the context for the agents who are interfacing with the customers, that becomes very critical. And of course, BI, data lake, uh, uh, those are must haves now. And data is also core to innovation, by the way. So that's one point I wanted to make. With having all so much of data, after you do analysis of the data, that's where I would say that's the cradle of new innovations. Now that I have this kind of a view of data, can I do something like this? Should my new product be something like this? That's where innovations comes from. So data is not only driving business, but it's also very critically driving innovation as well.
Exactly.
That's information.
Exactly. No, data drives innovation. I think that's the takeaway of the session. So I hate to say this, but we are sitting on top of the hour. This is so engaging that I lost track of time, but couldn't thank you guys enough. Very strong takeaways. Build versus buy versus hybrid. We have seen pretty much the mandate coming up to be hybrid, and ServiceNow is a hybrid platform. Data drives innovation, and CX, nobody can deny how important it is in today's world. With that, I end the session. Thank all my fellow panelists, everyone in the country who took out time for this reflection together, as well as Economic Times for making all of us come together for this engaging session. Harpreet, over to you.
Wow. Thank you, Saurabh. Thank you, Saurabh. Thank you very much for taking us through such an enlightening session. It was an absolute pleasure to listen such a fantastic discussion. Before we conclude this session, I would like to express my gratitude to every one of our panelists for making the time to join us here today and sharing their knowledge and expertise with us. Thank you once again for joining this session on BFSI Connected Customer Experience presented by ServiceNow. This is Harpreet Singh signing off. Have a blessed day and stay safe. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone. Take
Thank
care.
you. Thank you.
Everybody, have a good day.
So much. Thank you.